We now have a full Fyter Fest card for nights 1 and 2, and Orange Cassidy proves to Chris Jericho he isn't as lazy as Jericho thinks he is. What's up, everybody? Eric here from That's Wrestling. Thanks for tuning into today's Newswire. We will be doing an AEW Dynamite rundown, but if you'd like the full review, tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays, which is tonight, where we do a full review over there live on YouTube, and then you can grab that as a podcast or a video on demand later if you miss the live broadcast. So let's get into a little bit of news. Because of various allegations to many people in the promotion, Hikari has been closed. So another promotion down, along with Bar Wrestling. I can't remember the rest of them, but I'm guessing we're going to be down quite a few promotions by the time everything clears up. We now also know who Jon Moxley was in contact with who had COVID-19, and unfortunately, it was his own wife, Renee Young. She posted on social media that she has indeed tested positive for COVID-19 a little bit after Dynamite went off the air. So what does that mean for the AEW title match between Moxley and Cage, when that was supposed to be filmed a week from today? He's not going to be quarantining, as far as I know, because that'd be kind of a douchebag move to leave your wife while she's sick, and he has been with her this whole time while she's been sick, so it might only be a matter of time until he tests positive for COVID-19 as well. So the AEW title match could be up in the air. This will be one to watch over the next few days, and hopefully everything is okay, but I fear the worst, that this title match might not actually end up taking place, because I don't think he's going to leave his wife's side while she's sick. So, at least I hope not. So let's get into the AEW Dynamite rundown. Wardlow and Luchasuarus had a Lumberjack match that looked more like a cruiserweight match, but all the Lumberjacks were scared of the two opponents. Wardlow at one point actually hit a flying head scissors on a standing Luchasaurus, and also Luchasaurus hit a standing Spanish fly in the middle of the ring as well. In the end, after distraction from MJF, Wardlow hit the F10 for the pin there, but then a brawl broke out between Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, Luchasaurus, Wardlow, MJF, and really all the Lumberjacks were involved, and that is going to set up a match at Fyter Fest. It's going to be MJF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Next up, we had Hikaru Shida. She was just pretty much in a squash match against Red Velvet. Before the match started, she and Penelope Ford were having a yelling match at ringside, where Ford ended up slapping Hikaru Shida. After the match was over, Shida immediately ran out of the ring straight to Penelope Ford, and they brawled. I believe Ricky Starks got a legit punch to the face when Penelope Ford's fist wrapped around the back of Hikaru Shida's head. So I think he took a one right to the eye or nose. It looked like he was favoring his eye, but we will see. So that sets up their title match going into next week. And then we had a TNT Championship press conference that I thought was super lame. It was so staged. Jake Hager, no one was there for him. He shows up late with his wife. He has a little pose down with Cody. Jake Hager's wife throws a glass of water in Cody's face, and that was really it. Thought this was kind of lame. I hope they never do it again. Then we had Colt Cabana teaming up reluctantly with Mr. Brodie Lee of the Dark Order against Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. Now, Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss have been teaming on AEW Dark lately and have quite a few wins. They did not come out on the winning end on this one, where Colt Cabana got the pin after Brodie Lee hit a discus lariat while he was the illegal man. Colt Cabana kind of reluctantly accepted the pin, and that was that. We also had FTR had a solid match against SCEU. SCEU filling in for the Natural Nightmares, as QT Marshall, along with many of his students that live in the area, were told to stay home after, again, COVID-19 exposure. and they had to pull out of the match. So SCEU stepped in. Really solid match. They actually did hit the Goodnight Express solidly this time on Christopher Daniels and picked up the win there. After the match, Butcher and Blade hijacked FTR's truck and challenged them to an 8-man tag at Fyter Fest, challenging FTR to team with the Young Bucks versus Butcher and Blade and the returning Lucha Brothers, who are standing in the ring behind FTR. They had a little bit of a brawl, and then Lucha Bros leave with Butcher and Blade in FTR's truck. Next up, we had Brian Cage was in a squash match. He was replacing Jon Moxley, who was supposed to be in this spot. Of course, as mentioned earlier, he had to stay home. After the match was over, Taz cut a promo basically into the camera, directed to Moxley sitting at home, asking where he was. Doesn't really matter. His title is in danger, and he has to ask himself, can you stop the path of Cage? Then we had a segment with Britt Baker. She is in the back of her Rolls-Royce golf cart, whatever you want to call it. This time she is now surrounded by plexiglass all around, so nobody can get to her. Of course, Big Swole comes out. They're yelling at each other through the glass. Britt Baker says, "You can't get to me, you can't get to me." Big Swole walks off, only to show up on the other side of the golf cart. She has climbed up the hood, and she dumps a trash can full of trash all over Britt Baker. And that is about the end of the segment there. Then we had a match with Matt Hardy and Santana. Santana filling in for Sammy Guevara, who was suspended earlier last week. And this was a pretty decent match. There was a lot of cheating from the team of Santana and Ortiz. No surprise there. But in the end, Matt Hardy manages to roll through a pin attempt by Santana to get a pin of his own and win the match. Right after the match was over, though, Ortiz runs in, hits him with the Mad Ball, and then they hit Hardy with the Street Sweeper. And that was the end of that. And then lastly, we had a segment of Orange Cassidy facing off with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho did all the talking here, basically called Orange Cassidy lazy and annoying, and then Orange Cassidy attacks and took Jericho down, hits him with a bunch of punches. They fight out into the stands. Jericho swings the boom camera into Orange Cassidy, which then opens up his ear. He's bleeding out of the ear at this point. Orange Cassidy then hits a Superman punch that sends Jericho through a table, taking him out, and Orange Cassidy stands tall at the end of this segment. So all in all, I thought this was a decent show. Basically a go-home show for what is now a very stacked night 1 and 2 of Fyter Fest. I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks of Dynamite, which is now just going to be Fyter Fest. So, good times. That is all I have for today. Be sure to tune in tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube for the full AEW Dynamite review with me and Dustin West. Until next time, I'll see you later on That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.